Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, port workers temporarily defer strike action over pay while Prime Minister's secretary rejects the demand, saying the timing is bad. The upgrade of a 20-villa 15-cottage resort in the Bois-Côtelette area next year expected to transform Dominica's tourism through brand name resort marketing. And in sports, a second straight defeat for West Indies in their tour of New Zealand. We'll have details coming up.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth or call 445-5001-275-5003 today.
First up in the news, a decision by the chairman of the Dominica ANC Port Authority to meet with the employees' representative next week averted industrial action on Friday. But head of the Dominica Public Service Union, Thomas Later, says the option to strike remains on the table even if workers remained on the job on Friday. Thomas says the decision to strike or not will depend on how Wednesday's meeting with the port managers go. He says Friday's threat of strike action stemmed from a number of outstanding grievances, among them proposals for salary revisions in September 2016.
Much progress has not been made in that regard. From that time, we had only 2 meetings. One was before Hurricane Maria struck, and the other one was about 3 weeks ago. And there was hardly any progress. In fact, we concluded that management came to the meeting unprepared. We wrote to management expressing our concern and saying, look, you need to place some importance on the whole question of salary negotiations.
Later says they should now be in a new 2017-2019 triennium, and yet negotiations for the 2014-2016 triennium have not been concluded.
Management suggested, before they received that letter from us, at our last meeting we met with them, that we would have met on Monday. We turned out to that meeting on Monday. I was accompanied by a member of my staff, plus 3 shop stewards to continue the negotiations. One of the shop stewards came as far as Marigot, and there was no sign of the general manager. We waited, no sign of general manager. We indicated to his secretary to get in contact with him and tell him that we have been there waiting for the longest while. No apology was given. What we received was a letter in response to the one that I had written, expressing our disappointment and saying that a meeting was being arranged for the 21st. But up to now, no apology, nothing. So we find that is not fair, that cannot be right, and the people are fed up. They believe by now negotiations should have been concluded, and we should have also concluded for the new triennium, for which we are over 1 year behind.
The union says it does not support management's position that the DPSU meet with its members outside of working hours. Later says that other establishments the union is given the last hour before work ends on slow days to meet with staff. He says the union is willing to do its part in a new approach to how things are done. The union's meeting with the board on Wednesday will be followed by a meeting with members on Thursday. In related news, Prime Minister Skerrit has issued a statement rejecting a request by DASPA employees for salary increase. The Prime Minister said DASPA would not negotiate on any level with a gun to its head while workers are out on, in his words, an illegal industrial action. Mr. Skerrit says at a time when the country's tax revenue is at an all-time low and hundreds of private sector workers are out of work, the demand for salary increase cannot be met. The Prime Minister says he's hard-pressed to understand how anyone expects salary negotiations of any kind with the country's tax revenue dramatically affected since Hurricane Maria. Mr. Skerrit says the request by the DASPA employees is selfish and self-serving, and to consider a salary increase would mean reinstating all taxes.
You want salary increase when not all wards at the PMH are functional and with some in urgent need of equipment. You want salary increase when farmers are still struggling to get their lands cleared, plowed, and planted. You want salary increase when we are still struggling to settle the island's children back in schools. You want salary increase when hundreds of Dominicans are still without a roof over their heads. You want salary increase at a time when people are asking us to renew the duty-free concessions. Where is government or DASPA is supposed to get the money you're asking for?
The Prime Minister has also raised concerns over the efficiency of DASPA employees and the impact of a shortfall in revenue due to Hurricane Maria.
You want salary increase when every single Dominican has been raising questions about the efficiency or lack thereof at the port in clearing their goods, to restart their businesses and to fix their homes and to regularize their lives? Are DASPA staff not aware that DASPA has been using monies from insurance payouts to meet salary payments since the Hurricane Maria? The port's revenue has dropped by over 30%. And the only way the port has been able to pay salaries at the ports is by utilizing insurance payouts received for losses. Is the DASPA staff aware that DASPA suffered $51 million of losses and damages as a result of Hurricane Maria?
The Prime Minister has questioned the motives behind this demand for salary increase.
I hope it is not who I suspect it is. I hope the workers are not once again being used like puppets in a silly, selfish game. DASPA shall hold discussions when people are back to work and when people are prepared to discuss their concerns and other concerns in a mutually respectful and civil manner. Until such time, DASPA will not hold discussions with people on strike. And this is a very firm position of DASPA and the government.
In more news now, Dominica's hotel room stock expected to be significantly improved by 2019 as a 20-villa 15-cottage establishment is set to be completed by the end of next year. Andrea Louis reports.
Bois-Côte Estate in Soufrière currently operates as a day visit for cruise ship tourists where they learn of the country's history in cocoa and coffee production. In September 2016, Bois-Côte Estate was among 3 hotel properties which received funding under the Citizenship by Investment program to upgrade and further develop their current facilities. During an interview with Channel 5 News, Managing Director of Bois-Côte Estate, Jonathan Lera, said the establishment expects to see a significant increase in clientele through this project.
Well, number-wise, we're driven by the cruise line industry. We hosted between 5,000 and 6,000 people last year. But I don't really think it's so much a number story as it is, to your point, it's a progression, it's a development story. When we talk about the oldest surviving estate, we're not thinking in terms of this year or next year. We're thinking in terms of generations. We're thinking in terms of Dominica's future. As you know, our guests have told us, they come and they learn and they say, but we were here, Jonathan, we're just for 2 hours and we had to go. Can we come back and stay? How do we learn about this? I said, well, you have to stay for a week. And that was really the genesis of our interest in accommodations and the CBI program, is how can we accommodate those guests that we have and convert that into something more than just a 2-hour visit.
Lera explained that clients will get improved value for money through the development of Bois-Côte Estate.
We talk about in life all the time how much does something cost, but we don't really talk about where the value is. And so I looked just recently at a hotel product in St. Kitts, and there was somebody charging at least 2 or 3 times per night above the average, above the mean. And the first thought would be, oh, that's crazy, that's expensive. Another thought would be, maybe that's a fantastic experience that you can't get anywhere else. You just don't know. And so to say how much does something cost, I think is an irrelevant term. You really need to ask more about the value and what you're getting and what it means, and it's not just a quick number.
The upgrade of the Bois-Côtelette estate through CBI funds will help change the face of tourism on the island through brand name resort marketing.
CBI is a fantastic program that's really in the process of not just revitalizing but changing the face of the island through brand name resorts and to a little place like Bois-Côtelette, enabling guests to come and stay overnight and providing the funds through that through investment. And of course the resulting benefits to the community and the surrounding area too. So, you know, development-wise, we're looking forward to the completion of the project, which is on track. We should be in place somewhere beginning in 2019 and completing somewhere at the end of 19, early 20.
The 53-acre Bois-Côtelette estate operates as a self-sufficient property. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
In more news now, a proposed central drying facility for cocoa beans expected to raise and maintain the quality of cocoa products manufactured for the market. General Manager of Dexia, Gregor Thomas, says pre-Hurricane Maria there were plans to establish such a facility at Melville Hall. He addressed 25 cocoa stick producers from the south at a workshop hosted on Friday on post-harvest safety practices.
The drying and fermentation of cocoa has a process. And we need to be able to follow that process so that we at least achieve the kind of quality bean to give us the kind of quality product that we are looking for. And one of the ways we attempted to do that in the past was to have what we call a central drying facility. Where Dexia was involved, we would purchase wet beans and we would have all the wet beans processed in one facility. And from that facility, we would have a standard bean. Right now, chances are you are buying beans and you are not sure what that process is.
Thomas pointed out that Dominica has already been rated as a top cocoa producer with a high-quality bean.
We at Dexia can collaborate with the Ministry of Agriculture to ensure that you have that type of product. We will. And I know that there are plans. I mean, some of the plans would have been affected by Maria, but we were at some stage almost, well, advanced in terms of setting up a drying facility at Melville Hall. That's probably still on the cards, so we'll see how we can expedite working with agriculture to get that central drying facility. Most of the beans that we purchase from farmers would go through that facility, and then we can source quality beans from that central facility. But that does not mean that you on your own, I mean, smaller producers cannot have their own processes. Once you follow the process, you will get the same product, the same end product.
He says there are opportunities to embrace in production processes within the cocoa sector.
We have, over the years, developed what we call a strategy for exports. And in that strategy, we have identified cocoa as one of the crops. Because there are some special things about our cocoa in Dominica. In talking about cocoa, we have one of the best cocoa in the world. In the world, and not just in the Caribbean. We have a few persons selling cocoa stick overseas, okay? So that is an export. A lot of it is focused on the domestic market, which is that means you produce and you sell to our local domestic market. But some of you are also involved in export. What you have is a business, and you have to see it as a business. And as a business, you have to pay attention to all the things that you need to do to make that business viable.
This is Channel 5 News, a new challenge for cocoa stick producers. More on that when we come back.
Si ou ni maladie HIV et bien maladie sexuelle, si ou pas protéger corps lors qu'à des sexe avec plusieurs monde, ça kay mette la vie ou à gros danger. Ou ka exposer tout partenaire au présent et que tant qu'il a vini avec maladie. Servez yon condom chaque fois ou ka ni sexe. Changer qui est important pour découvrir maladie à bonheur ou ça vivre en bonne santé même si ou ni maladie HIV. Pour responsabilité, protéger corps et puis les autres. Examiner corps. Aider du bout si même maladie HIV et l'autre maladie sexuelle.
Thank you for staying with us. Cocoa stick producers are being challenged to raise their profile at meeting market demands. Dexia is providing a boost to cocoa producers who requested assistance following Hurricane Maria. Head of Dexia's Export Promotion and Development Department, Lloyd Pascal, has advised cocoa stick producers to form a cooperative to take advantage of more opportunities.
What I'd like to say to you as cocoa stick producers, there is a cooperative that is operating out in the Northeast. The people, the cocoa stick producers like yourselves, they have formed themselves into a cooperative that they can work together as a group. And I'd like to see something like that happen in your area as well, in the South as well. I don't know if you have given that thought yet, but that is something that we need to pay some attention to, because when you work as a group, you have more strength. By coming together, you can increase your productivity, you can increase your quality, you can work on things that can benefit the group. You can achieve market demands, you can better source funding, you can have a bigger say as a result of your grouping together.
Dexia is receiving funding through Compete Caribbean to develop a cocoa cluster development project.
It is really a group of businesses coming together, a group of entities coming together to realize a particular goal, a particular objective. And in our case, one of the objectives that we have is to meet market demands, it's to increase our quality. So the cluster that we're thinking of for Dominica will involve people like the Bureau of Standards. It will involve cocoa stick producers like yourselves. It will involve the manufacturers of the cocoa powder, for example, and the chocolatiers who are also involved in some business in Dominica. So we are bringing all of these people together, we are bringing all of these stakeholders together so that we can develop the industry, the cocoa industry itself, to a standard that we can meet world demands and world market demands.
A large-scale supplier of building materials in the region is hoping that good construction practices prevail during Dominica's Build Back Better campaign.
The Tankwell group of companies located in Jamaica initially supplied 14,000 sheets of zinc to Dominica in response to the country's call for help post-Hurricane Maria. Subsequently, Tankwell has sold material to the country upon the request of government. With the increasing number of building material coming into the country, Dominicans are naturally concerned with the quality of building supplies to ensure that they keep with the building codes. Consultant with the Tankwell group of companies, Reverend Dr. Garnet Roper, says the material being provided to Dominica is based on the specifications required by government.
We only supply what Dominica orders, and we do have a particular view about 28 versus 24 versus 26 gauge. We have a view, it is our view, but we don't mind supplying any material that the government wishes. I think in the end, the key, as you will notice, will be the quality of workmanship and the style of building. I think a hurricane of the size that hit you can destroy anything. So in order to mitigate it, there are some lessons.
Robo pointed out that despite the material meeting government standards, good construction practices will eventually determine the quality of the end product.
Here, as in Jamaica, hip roofs work very well. Right? The steeper the peak, the stronger, the more able it will be to withstand the impact of a hurricane. Nowhere else in the Caribbean, as far as we are able to tell, has before now used 24 gauge for residential purposes. So this will be a new experience for you. We expect that what we are supplying will come during the month of April, and we will benefit from the experience. We hope that the building trade, the contractors, the carpenters will be brought in a room, and they will have some strategy to handle the heavier, thicker material.
Roper hopes this new relationship forged with Dominica will pave the way for a stronger interregional rapport between Dominica and Jamaica.
This is a Caribbean neighbor. We're not used to relying on each other. We want to feel that Jamaica has a role to play as a big brother in the sense of size. And we have some experience and bring that to the table. And we hope that out of it there will be a more stronger interregional flow. You coming north, we coming south and east, and just knowing each other. We are one people. When you come, that's what you see, that we are one people.
The Tankwell group of companies has been in existence for over 45 years. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
And Cable and Wireless Charitable Foundation today announced that it would provide additional funding of over $290,000 to projects that will improve the lives of children in the Caribbean, in areas of the Caribbean impacted by last year's hurricanes. This follows the foundation's initial $100,000 donation to Shelterbox for relief efforts after the hurricanes, as well as a cleanup of the Chances Children's Home as part of Cable and Wireless Communications' annual Mission Day. The new funding will be used to support critical education services in some of the most badly impacted countries. $100,000 for replacing roofs on secondary schools in the BVI, $25,000 for school for disabled children in Virgin Gorda, Turks and Caicos Islands, $100,000 for computers and furniture for a primary school there. In Anguilla, $22,500 will be used to provide supplies and repairs at a preschool. And in Dominica, $45,000 to be used towards refurnishing the computer lab of the Roseau Primary School. The board of the Cable and Wireless Charitable Foundation chose these projects as they align with its strategic aims of educating and empowering communities. Major sponsors of the foundation include Sterlite, the Premier League, One Caribbean, HBO Latin America, Advantage Communications, and Deloitte and Telenet. Their generosity contributed to the $1 million that the foundation has raised so far, which includes the $500,000 seed funding provided by Cable and Wireless Communications at its launch. You are watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, the sports highlights with Kenny Williams.
Do you need more cash for that home improvement? Then come to Fast Cash, where we give you more. At Fast Cash, our customers get more funds and more time to repay. But wait, can't come to us? We'll come to you, and our mobile officer will get you on your way. Small businesses, consumers, and taxi owners. Fast Cash has more for everyone. Simply call or visit any of our locations for more. Smarter, faster, better. Fast Cash. Terms and conditions apply.
First up in sports, Dominica State College went on to win the Mass United Insurance Schools Under-20 Cricket Championship on Friday. Batting first, Isaiah Thomas Secondary was bowled out for 100 runs. In reply, Dominica State College scored 224 all-out. Kasim Peltier struck an impressive 63, while Derry Ogist came in with 42. Neil Payne contributed 37 and Dion Burton 27 to help prop the score. Micah Joseph took 5 for 47 and Jeremiah Joseph 3 for 63. In a second innings reply, ITSS was bowled out for 96 runs. Micah Joseph was the most impressive with the bat for ITSS with an undefeated 71. Lee Louisi picked up a well-deserved 7 wickets to help DSC win by an innings and 28 runs. Meantime, DSC's skipper says the win against ITSS was a great comeback from last year's defeat. In 2017, DSC lost the championship to St. Mary's Academy.
Well, this win means a lot to us to finally bring it back home after a year. I mean, these guys really played well, and I must give my hats off to the bowlers. They really did well today. In cricket, there's partnership, but they have to keep applying pressure, and we did so, and then we get the end result.
Meanwhile, ITSS skipper says his team had little reply to a vicious DSC bowling attack and fell short in the end.
I expected to come out victorious, but as you say, everybody can come out as winners, but I batted really well, so couldn't do nothing much. Our batsmen came short, because all of us fell long to Lee. He bowled really well, so Lee went for the batsmen. Next season we look to come back, reach to the finals again. Maybe another team, we never know, but we look to play well next year and come out strong.
Meantime, despite West Indies' results on Thursday, Captain Jason Holder noted some good performances in the tournament so far. The Windies suffered their first defeat in the ICC World Cup qualifiers when they went down to Afghanistan by 3 wickets on Thursday.
At the end of the day, our main focus is to win this tournament. We fell short today. Having said that, I feel pretty good with my personal form. I'm trying to lead from the front, and I've been getting some runs and also getting some wickets. So Unfortunately, we didn't get across the line today, but I guess it's a bittersweet feeling knowing that I've gotten 100 wickets and 1,000 runs. I was really pleased with Kimo. He flew in 2 days ago. He had a practice session yesterday, and he was straight in it today. We've obviously got some injury concerns with our camp, and he was asked to do a job today, and I thought he performed creditably. He was one of those guys who've been doing really well in this domestic circuit back at home. He's very skillful. He showed that he has some potential with the bat as well, and he took a really good catch today for us. So I expect really good things from him going through in the future, and I just want to wish him all the best. We had a few scores over 300. We had a pretty good chase as well, and I guess it's one of our weaker batting performances for the entire tournament so far. I wouldn't start a panic. I think it's a situation for us, just to regroup. We've got a few days off, and I expect really good things against Zimbabwe. One thing about this team that I've seen is we're full of confidence. A lot of guys are stepping up at different stages of the tournament, and it's good to see that not one or two individuals have really carried the team on their back. It's a wholehearted team effort, and it's really good to see in a tournament like this.
Holder says the team is not deterred by Thursday's defeat and is determined to qualify for the 2019 World Cup.
We're going to take the first game first against Zimbabwe. It's obviously a must-win game for us. We've got to put our foot down now and try to qualify for the finals. And once we do that, we obviously qualify for the 2019 World Cup. But it's important we take it step by step, game by game. And I think our next encounter is against Zimbabwe. We've got to deal with them first.
Next up, the local football talent will get an opportunity to interact with former Olympian Kirana Leblanc on the weekend. The 5-time FIFA legend is expected to pass on knowledge and skills in her area of expertise to athletes and students. Leblanc played in the 1999, 2003, 2007, 2011 and the 2015 World Cups.
I'm doing a clinic on Saturday in Portsmouth at 9:30 in the morning, held by Mr. Douglas. He's organizing that. Then I'll come here to Roseau or up in town with the Football Association of Dominica, and I'll do a clinic there for the national team. And I'm just trying to get around to the schools and impact them by helping them see themselves as the greatness that they are. Because I know for me that was the difference. Somebody once told me, like, hey, make sure you dream big. And that's what I did.
Meantime, the UNICEF and CONCACAF ambassador is recommending areas for improvement to the local girls football product that could bring some level of advancement soon. She says she is working with the relevant authorities in that regard.
I think there needs to be more structure, but you have to get more women or young girls participating in the sport. And that's where the culture shift has to happen. We have to have the parents see the value of the game. When you play sport, you become so much more disciplined. Your schoolwork will be better. You learn to communicate. You learn to work with a team. You learn to set goals. If you go to North America now and you have a resume and you got straight A's or you got B's and you played in a sport team, the person with the B's in the sport team will get the job any day. That person will also get the scholarship. So the value of playing sport is more than recreational. Look, it's better for your health. It's better for so many things. But what it teaches you in life is the most important thing. So for me, what I see is that we have to get more girls playing, and that's how you increase the level, because when more girls play, more girls want to play, and then you shift the culture, and then you have to get more professional. What it means to play for your national team is not that you just show up twice a week, put on the jersey and say, I played for Dominica. What it means to play for your national team is you're a role model. The moment you step on the field for Dominica, you're a role model to everybody around you. It's a 24-hour job day. You don't get to do it for 2 hours, you do it for 24 hours. So that every time somebody sees you, they say, there goes that girl who plays for Dominica. And a young girl who sees you says, hey, you know what, I want to be like her. And it shifts the conversation. Then when you're the athlete, you have a responsibility. You don't just get to show up. You have a responsibility to every day perform on the field. When you're off the field, do what it takes to perform well. Get the good grades. And I think that's where the shift needs to happen. And then from the Federation, we're working together. I've talked with them. We need more competitions, because that's where you foster development. You drive that excitement.
In women's cricket, West Indies suffered their second straight defeat in their tour of New Zealand on Friday. Batting first, New Zealand finished on 185 for the loss of 3 wickets in their 20 overs. Amy Satterthwaite was most aggressive with the bat to score an unbeaten 71. Katie Martin further supported with 65. Single wickets came from Akira Peters, Deandra Dottin and Shamila Connell. Set 186 to win, the Windies were limited to a meager 79 for the loss of 8 wickets. The highest scoring West Indian batsman was Kaishana Knight, 20. Sophie Devine snatched 3 for 12 and Leigh Casperk 2 for 13 to help New Zealand win by 106 runs. As of Friday's game, the Zealanders led the 5-match series 2-0. Moving on to weekend sports, we can tell you the Dominica Cricket Association's 50 overs-a-side competition continues with 2 games. On Sunday, Marino Blasters Sports Club will go head-to-head with Grand Bay Credit Union Colts at Windsor Park. And at Benjamin's Park, St. Paul Cricket Academy will go head-to-head with Nagico Northern Stars Sports Club. All games are scheduled to begin at 9:30 a.m. That's all the sporting highlights for now. I am Kenny Williams. Join us. Time.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, galvanized and fenced pipe. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
To end the news, the headlines again. Port workers temporarily defer strike action over pay, while Prime Minister Skerritt rejects the demand, saying the timing is bad. The upgrade of a 20-villa, 15-cottage resort in Bois-Côtelet next year, expected to transform Dominica's tourism through brand name resort marketing. And a second straight defeat for the West Indies in their tour of New Zealand. You may contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can see our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Do have a great weekend.